So, you are new to World of Warcraft The Burning Crusade, and you feel like you're always running out of gold. And it's probably not bad luck. You're more likely to actually just have done a beginner mistake, and that is bleeding you dry of gold without you even realizing it. And I made a few mistakes myself when I was new in World of Warcraft many years ago. So you're not alone in having made these mistakes. And I'm not shy of actually admitting some of the mistakes I made. But I found 10 mistakes that I can help you revert so you begin to actually make some gold and don't get kicked out of parties and have a more pleasant time playing the game. So follow me in this video and I will show you these 10 mistakes. So one mistake that new players make when actually playing a hunter is they're forgetting their pet. Your pet has various needs depending on what type of pet it is. I have a raptor, which means if I go into pet, I can see it needs meat. And what you do is basically you press the feed pet, find something that is a meat, and then you give it to it. This will give it loyalty. This is the green icon next to its face. And at 100% loyalty, it will deal 100% damage. And when it's a green loyalty, it will deal 125% damage. And it will gain loyalty then. And you have different loyalty ranks from 1 to 6. 6 being best friend, 1 being the first thing it is. And if you forget to feed it and it's at rank 1 too long, and unhappy, it will actually rebel and try to kill you and then run away. So remember to take care of your pet. One last thing about feeding your pet, remember to actually use level appropriate food. Because if you use low level food, you might need to feed it 10 times, but giving the same effect as if you just give it, let's say you're level 35, some level 35 food. Remember that. So the next mistake I often see new players do is they get a pet and the pet has a taunt and they forget to turn it off when inside a dungeon. And you turn it off just by right clicking it. That way it will no longer be auto cast. You can right click it again to turn it on. So the next one is forgetting to repair before going into dungeon. I have seen it many times that people go into dungeon and after 10 mobs they're like, oh, I forgot to repair, and then they have to run out and actually repair. Another thing on that account is remember to buy supplies like arrow, water and food, because without water and food you might have to just stand there, wait to get mana, and it prolongs the run and is really annoying for everyone else. And bonus one here, and I'm very guilty of this. In the beginning of World of Warcraft, I did not know you were able to actually drink and eat at the same time. So when I was playing on my mage, I drank first for mana and then I ate for hit points afterwards. You can do both at the same time, so remember that as well. So this one is regarding doing quests for trainers. Sometimes your trainer will have a quest for you, and it's actually really important to look out for those quests. For example, a shaman, if you don't do your shaman quest, you cannot unlock new totems, and that really stifles your game and makes it worse for you. And it's just really important to do them because they will give you new items, new spells, new abilities. So try and remember to do your quests you get from the trainer when you get them. Some of them you can wait a bit with because they might trigger at, say, level 20, but you need to kill something that is level 25, and that might not be that easy, so it's okay to wait a level 2, but just remember to do them. When you're in a party, either as a healer or a tank, most commonly, or DPS, remember to always look at how your party is doing. with hit points and mana. I cannot count the numbers of times that I had a dungeon where we either wiped or something went horribly wrong because we had people who just randomly pulled when everyone was drinking, or they pulled a bus while the healer had 0 mana, and it's just really annoying. So remember to always look out for that. This one might be a bit controversial, but I have seen a lot of groups doing runs, even raids, where they fail to use crowd control, CC, like traps, sheep, sap, whatever you want, sucker buses. You have a lot of abilities that can CC, and your party won't be degraded by using it. It would actually help you, because it might make you take a lot less damage, which means you can pull another group right after because the healer has more mana, and it might actually save you from dying. So don't be afraid to ask people to do CCs, even in lower runs, because it can really save your ass. When you're just beginning, your bag is this one, and you usually have your Hearthstone in it. And a lot of people don't know this, but you can actually destroy your Hearthstone. And then you can go to Innkeeper and say, make this in your home. And then they give you a new Hearthstone. So if you're lacking space, remember you can always delete your Hearthstone and get a new one. And also remember to get a new inn every time you go to a new zone, otherwise you will Hearthstone back to the old zone. So this tip is auction house related, and I've seen it a few times. People who are new to the game, they go into the auction house and they become, oh, this is like the best item ever. And then they use a lot of silver or gold to get a new item. For example, now we're looking at a weapon here. 13 silver on level 10 is actually quite a lot of silver. And if you keep doing this on lower levels, you will run out of gold. And the sad truth is, you can buy a lot of stuff on the auction house, and it becomes obsolete very fast, because when you are low level and questing, you will get new items really fast. And that actually goes all the way up to almost the end of the game. So don't waste all your gold on new green items every time you ding. You can do it at times if you have a really bad weapon as a melee character and there's a cheap one in the auction house. Go for it, it will speed up your gameplay. But doing for every piece of gear you have will just ruin you. And that's part 2 of this tip, is remember to get professions. A lot of people forget professions and they just end up wasting a lot of gold, because if you have the right professions, you can either make yourself green gear or you can make gold on the auction house. So always look out for professions. And if you want to know a bit about professions, I made a guide about them. When you begin yourself to actually drop things on the auction house, try and always remember to look at the vendor price. And here we have a shirt you can make in tailoring. It sells for 5 silver and 50 copper at the vendor, and people are selling it for 8-9 silver on the auction house. It is twice what it sells at the vendor, I will give you that. But it costs a silver to deposit on the auction house, and you lose a silver from actually selling it from the auction house due to the auction house cost. So it is almost not worth it. So try and always look out for the vendor price, and you can get an add-on that keeps track of vendor prices, and you can get an add-on that tells you if something is on the auction house too low, because you can actually make money from just going through the auction house and buying stuff cheaper than they sell at the vendor. I made a ton of gold that way in Mists of Pandaria because people just sold material, weapons, items for less than the vendor price on the auction house. So keep up for that. And now for the last tip, actually. And this is for all the casters. Remember to get a wand. Wands do so much for you. And the first wand you can get is from level 5 and from enchanting, and it's the lesser magic wand. But this wand has such a high DPS that often you will kill stuff faster wanding them than actually casting spells. And you can get one just as powerful at level 13. So remember to get wands, because they can really, really, really make your life way, way easier. And since people tend to use them to level enchanting, you can often find them very cheap on the auction house. So a good wand for a caster can really do a difference. So remember that. That was all my 10-ish mistakes that I have seen new people do. And if you have done some of these mistakes, let me know in the comments. And if there are some mistakes I missed, let me know as well. And I hope people are honest and can bear telling what kind of mistake they did when they began playing World of Warcraft. Because we kind of need that openness. We need to be able to talk about mistakes so we can actually talk to other people about it so they don't get defensive or angry. We need to be able to take the criticism in. And I have sadly seen a lot of people get really, really mad when you try and tell them that they did something wrong or they used an ability wrong, like using Mocking Blow as a DPS that will give you aggro, and then they get mad because it deals damage, so therefore it's a damage ability and totally legit, and I was just a dumb tank, and what did I know? And stuff like that. And I have also seen people being afraid to actually ask for help to understand something because they feared people would call them dumb. So here we have a safe zone. Ask away, I will try and answer, and if you have done something, put it down. Other than that, I hope you just would like, comment, subscribe. It would really help me out. And just have an amazing day doing what you're doing, and hope that you will have some fun playing World of Warcraft. Bye.